Today's story comes from a man who had a painful childhood. Finally chose to run away from home. He had lost hope in life and saw no hope. When he wanted to end it all, God came along, and through communion with God, he rediscovered the meaning of life. Let's begin our story today. I had a grumpy father. From the time I was very young, I started beating me, and I felt like I was living in hell. I begged my mother to help me, I begged God to punish this bastard, but I didn't get an answer and I felt very desperate. My begging only made the beatings worse. Many people asked me why I didn't call the police. All these things happened decades ago, when the police didn't care at all. Even when they came, they simply said a few words and left. People around me were indifferent, they only cared about surviving. When I was 15 years old, I could no longer stand such a family, and with no one around me willing to help me, I stopped believing in God. I chose to run away from home to a place where no one knew me. I took a little money from my dad's wallet, grabbed 2 pieces of clothing and ran away. I knew my parents wouldn't come looking for me. Dad would only care about his poor paycheck and whether he had a beer today. Everyone only cared about themselves in those days. The first night, I arrived in an abandoned building. There were other people in here, some bums or hooligans. They asked me to join them for a drink, and we all got drunk. At the age of 16, I was exposed to drugs for the first time. I lost my direction and hope for life. To make a living, I occasionally went with them to steal things. When I was 17, I was arrested for stealing. They were unable to contact my parents and I was soon released. As I was leaving the police station, I saw my friends. I had been living with them for the past few years. My friend had brought some banned substances with him. We enjoyed a brief moment of pleasure. After a while, I felt very uncomfortable. It felt like something was grabbing my heart and trying to rip it out. I don't know how to describe it. I found myself in darkness, nothing was around me, I couldn't hear anything. I feel very strange today, usually I don't dream when I'm unconscious. I felt a huge rock on top of me and I couldn't move. I was very scared. I had no way to get rid of the stone. I felt cold, like standing outside in winter without clothes. I always hated winter. I felt needles stabbing me. The needles were long, big, and very sharp. The needles were ripped out and then stabbed in again. This happened over and over again. It never stopped. I heard screams, and I knew that it was my scream. The pain was more pronounced in this dark place. Then I heard a demonic laughter that felt like it was right next to me. It was the most evil sound I had ever heard. The darkness was so horrible, I wonder how long it took. I heard a voice calling my name. And reminded me not to stay in the darkness too long or I would really die. I responded out loud, "Who are you? I don't need anyone else to care about my own affairs." He told me, God has not given up on anyone and He loves everyone. I asked him, "Are you God?" He did not answer me. I began to laugh and I knew that it was God who was talking to me. I said to him, "Where were you when my father was beating me? Stop hiding in the darkness, I want to talk to you face to face." As soon as I said these words, the darkness disappeared. The sight that appeared before me was difficult for me to describe. He had the outline of a human being, and his whole body radiated light. He had a luminous robe with a golden belt that was exquisitely embroidered, but I could not see his face. I began to cry about what had happened to me in the past 10 years. I felt the anger inside me take over. I asked him why he couldn't help me every time I needed him. He answered me, because he can't interfere too much with human life. I sneered and said, "So you are not an all-powerful God, a God who cannot make suffering stop. I have prayed to you many times, seeking your help. In every beating I prayed to you, but you didn't show up." Then he showed me something. I saw myself go into my parents' room, grab my father's pants off the floor, take his wallet, and take all his money. My father was actually awake the whole time and noticed that I was stealing money. It felt like he was under a spell. A huge rock was pressing down on my father's body and he couldn't move or talk. After reading this, I felt a little guilty. He said, "I have been with you, I heard your cries for help, I did not abandon you." I continued to ask him, "Why do I still feel that you have abandoned me? I have been on the streets for 5 years, I have been living a hard life, when will I be able to end this life?" He told me again, "I can't interfere with the life you choose for yourself. You are here talking to me because you overdosed and you and your friends are dead. I am not in a position to stop you from killing yourself, but you have to make a choice now. You can quit now and stay in the hell you created. If you choose to go back, I will help you return to Earth. Although your life will be difficult, through hard work, you will find the true meaning of life." When I woke up again, my friend was dead next to me. Later, I went to rehab and eventually got sober. With the help of some good people, went back to school and earned a bachelor's degree. I reconnected with my family. I gave my father back the money I had stolen earlier, plus some interest. But my relationship with him was still strained. Because I couldn't get over the damage he had done to me, I would call my mother often, concerned about how she was doing. I didn't tell them what I was going through. In my heart, I knew that God was real and hell was scary. Jesus heard my call before I died, and he freed me from my dark place. God gave me a second life, and God bless all of you.